Hello and welcome. This is Don't Bury the Lead, and Dom and I are talking about the main event at Smackdown Live.
An interesting show coming out of a pay-per-view with another pay-per-view just a couple of weeks away or so. So this is crunch time here, just the way the schedule works out for the WWE. Some interesting stuff to happen, and the lead I think was right at the very end, even though it was not a technically a wrestling match there. I mean, let's get right into that. There, it was the Bloodlines, and what do you think coming out of that? There, let's say our top story. There was a lot of great matches, but our top story seems to be what they're building with the Bloodline. At least that's what I say. I don't know what you say. We don't bury the lead here, so I'll play off what you think. Don't bury
Yeah,
the lead, John. What is our top story here in an interesting post pay-per-view show?
you know, I'll go ahead and say that it's very unique for what we're used to because we've only been watching now. Well, now we're starting to get to the weeks up. Maybe there's
Month and a
6
half.
weeks. Yeah, a month and a half. And they usually have a cohesive show where they build to the main event, and the main event is a match. And it's been Gunter, and he's been killing it. But this show was sort of building to the main event would be Roman Reigns talking. And that was the main event is Roman Reigns and the rest of the Bloodline shooting a promo, which was good. Just a little unique in the fact that it is a promo. And this promo is at least pushing something in the right direction, which is, as you mentioned, we have Survivor Series coming up. And I was like, what the hell is this? And then you're like, oh, Survivor Series is coming up. I'm like, okay, so they're kind of building the team that will face the Bloodline at Survivor Series. I thought it went pretty well. And I think anytime Paul Heyman goes out and has a microphone in his hand, he does great things. So I am like pretty happy with his performance. I would typically and normally have to say I prefer to have just like a match and
Mhm.
like that would be it. But they kind of rammed in a nothing match and a promo. So yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything you wanted to add outside of what I just said?
I'm gonna try and encapsulate what the lead really is here, and I'm gonna have to draw on a number of things that happened throughout the show.
Hmm.
The lead here is the cohesion of the bloodline. And I'm going to lay out why I think that is the lead here. Number one, we had been coming off weeks and weeks where they were playing up the tension within the bloodline, dissension in the ranks, not always getting along. Sami Zayn being sort of the court jester, bringing some comedy to it, but also being a flashpoint for some of the tension there. Um, and what makes me think that they're trying to build two Survivor Series and a big match is that, in order to do that, you've got to show that teams are united. So
Right.
tonight's show was all about rebranding the bloodline as a united front. You had the match of the night was the tag team match that started the show. The Usos beat the New Day. Great match, great tag team match. Lots of double teams, lots of double team moves, lots of double team sequences. Clearly, two tag teams that have chemistry within the teams and cross teams, with each other as opponents in the ring. Great match. The Usos win. It looks like now the Usos are set up to break the New Day's record for longest title reign with the tag team belts. After weeks and weeks of there being tension and Roman trying to play down the Usos, especially Jay. This week, Roman acknowledges them in the ring, talks about how great it is, and they even did that backstage, talking about how great it was that the Usos have now supplanted, or in 2 days they're going to supplant the New Day
Yeah.
as the longest running um, tag team title reign. This is and no Sami Zayn. they didn't want to put it in anybody's mind that this could be a comedy spot. This could be the tension within the ranks. They didn't do that at all. So for whatever reason that Sammy isn't here tonight, the effect was this is a united bloodline. This is not about the tension. This is not about dissension in the ranks. This is not about awkwardness. This is not about comedy. As enjoyable as that is on the show, I mean, it's been gold.
Yeah.
This was about presenting a united bloodline, formidable bloodline, and about building on some past shows to get them very quickly into a program with another formidable faction.
They're already like, it was already a no-brainer that they'd be the team in for Survivor Series. So it's a good call for them to sort of put something together where, all right, who are the guys? Who's the people that are going to have to face them at Survivor Series? So I think that the segment went pretty well. This is the second time we've seen a promo, and this one was a lot less confusing than the Bray Wyatt one, which is like, here's the top team in the Bloodline that's going to be the Survivor Series, and here are 4 people of Irish descent that are going to face them. I believe that's what their connection is.
The connection seems to be, yes, it's Brawling Brutes and Sheamus and then Drew McIntyre. So they're bringing in the British Isles. Not all the same Isle, but
That's true.
There's more than one out there. So why not just mash them all together and say it's all the British Isles? Mm-hmm. So okay, but it's all people that have heat with the Bloodline for various reasons. Some of it very recent, and then at the end, Drew McIntyre comes out. And apparently, they're playing up something that happened just before I think you and I started watching and doing this. That Drew McIntyre apparently has heat with Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns over either costing him a title shot or a match or something. So it's the Bloodline versus people who have some very obvious heat with the Bloodline. And, if you've got to hustle and move very quickly into a program, I think they accomplished that tonight. And they use the occasion of the Usos about to set their record with the tag belts as something that feeds into that. So this is definitely, and although it wasn't a wrestling match, technically, we did go off the air tonight with, guys slugging it out. Yeah. There was some in-ring action. It did matter. And I do like that it gives us a chance to mention that opening segment and that opening tag match as part of sort of the lead story here, because it was a great match. This is 2 weeks in a row where the opening segment has been the match of the night.
Yeah.
What do you think of that opening match? It was long. We were more than half an hour into the show by the time that match got over with all of the post-match cheering and getting the guys out of the ring. It was 8:32 Eastern time. Show goes on the air at 8 Eastern time. By the time all that was done, they had 2 commercial breaks in there. They let the guys go. They let them wrestle. It was almost a pay-per-view quality match, I thought. I mean, what did you think about it? Were there some spots in there that some sequences in there that resonated with you as somebody who's been a wrestler, or just as somebody who's been a fan? I mean, what did you think of it?
One thing I would have to say is I almost messaged you because we don't watch the whole show together. We kind of meet up maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes before the show. And I almost messaged you and said, well, this should have been the main. I was like, this should have just been, I wish they had this at the end and we could talk in great detail about this match. But